the National Weather Service. I'm like, if there's a hurricane system coming, you can predict that. You know it's coming. But when the weather forecast said, hey, you know, it's going to be hot and humid and you could get some storms, thunderstorms and some storms. Some could be heavy. That sounds like the weather, right? Well, they don't know exactly, you know, they might frame it and say, you know, like the weather or the snow, they might say, you know, west of 495 could get 3 to 4 and east of 495 could, but, you know, but west of 190, you might get 10 inches of snow. And it's generic. They can't pinpoint it. And that is the same as most storms, even today. They had storms all around Boston. Well, they could say there could be some flooding. They couldn't tell you where, what street it was going to be on. They just can't tell you that. And in that situation, you know, they asked, you know, the reporters asked recently, based on the Texas storm, what, you know, were there any warnings? I'm like, no, because nobody could tell or knew that this was going to happen. They had some inclination that we could have, you know, messy weather, and Mother Nature might get angry and take it out on somebody that, you know, hey, I'm coming through. But they could tell us where. So we weren't getting alarms or notifications until we were well into the storm. And then the thing was going off like crazy. There was, you know, that Amber Alert sound. You know, you're middle of sleep in middle of the night, the Amber Alert thing goes up. You know what I'm talking about, right? And it's not until then. And I suspect that part of that, you know, might have been, you know, I don't know all the situation, but it might have been a situation like ours and like what happened today in like Braintree and some of those other towns where just nobody could predict. And what matters, though, is when Mother Nature gets angry and what happens from there on in. That's the, you know, we were quick about sort of reaching out, and you saw me driving around. I was sitting in my car. There was many streets that you could drive through and just say, don't come out. This is really bad. And, you know, and then you think to yourself, I'm telling people not to come out, but what if somebody's house is about to be washed away? Is that a good thing to tell them? It's all going through. But we called police, fire, state police, the MassDOT. We called mutual aid from other police and fire departments real quick. And so we were, I think, able to eliminate, you know, threat to, you know, we didn't have any casualties, which is, you know, a few scrapes and bruises. But boy, Texas, man, they got hit, and they got hit hard. We got, you know, Denver, I was saying, they get between 8 and 11 inches of rain all year. We got that in 2.5 hours. And it's the same sort of thing out there. And so, anyway, you showed up at the right time today. But a lot of the news people are just trying to do certain stories like, where the notification system helped. Yeah, I mean, if you know it's coming, or if in the middle, if when you see that things are getting bad, you can hit a button like an Amber Alert, and that signals everywhere. But what about the people who, like truck drivers? They don't know. All of a sudden, they're driving around the Route 2 and the water's up to here in their truck. They didn't know about this, you know? So that brings us to what you guys are working on. How's that for a segue into that?
Yeah, it's perfect. And like you said, Mayor, I mean, with everything going on in the news right now and flooding in different parts of the nation, this type of weather really is, in the Leominster situation, was so unpredictable. Yeah. We knew there was rain, and we had received some rain already, so things are pretty saturated. And then it came quick, and it came hard, and like you said, yeah, Mother Nature came through and made herself known.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm coming through. I shut my phone off when I saw the water coming up in the parking garage and into my back of my business. I was standing there waiting for it to slow down a little bit, but the catch basin was starting to fill up, and one of my employees said, I think the water's going to come in. I'm like, no, it's never happened. It'll, you know, the catch basin gets a little high, and then all of a sudden it started coming. I'm like, okay, we're in trouble. And but there was no notification. They didn't know. It took a while for information to get to the National Weather Service, to I don't know what apps you guys have, but I have the Weather Channel, I have MSN, I have a bunch of these things. And now, I don't know whether it's because of us or just because, it's probably because of everything that's been happening in the last couple of years. Our insurance company sends us alerts saying, severe thunderstorm, they're like, list every county in the country, like, hey, so, they're covering themselves, right? The insurance companies are covering themselves. And weather is a big deal for the news, because it's like, yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend. Details in about 10 minutes. And then you got to watch commercials, the news. And it's like, yeah, we could get some sun and we could get some partly cloudy. Details in another 5 minutes. And then you watch it. Then finally, a half hour into the news, you get the full deal. It's like, then you get the chart up, and this is Saturday and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, and they kind of give you an idea. So news is like important information. But you're right. These situations aren't. It's like, what do they call them? The snow bombs or something? Snow squalls. They're like, yeah, you could get a few snow squalls, and you go from like an inch to 8 inches in like 15 minutes. It's like, how did that happen? So what's the project you guys are working? Maybe you can describe that.
So yeah, real quick, and I'll let Matt introduce some social, our social networks that we're getting on to try to spread the word. But my name's Jeff Legros, as the mayor said, with the Montezuma Regional Planning Commission. And when the event happened, we were working right here in Leominster. Our office is over on Abbott Ave, and so I saw it firsthand. I was leaving work, and I got stuck going in one direction.
Did you know about it when you were leaving work?
I did actually. I waited a half hour too.
But you're up on a hill, so nothing's coming by you.
It was okay where we were.
Yeah.
It was coming down hard, hard enough that it made me wait. And I decided to wait a half hour, but then it didn't slow down. So I said, I'm wait all night. I'm going to get going.
Right.
So I headed out.
Just going to take the plunge.
Yeah. I headed out and
moving out.
It didn't take me long. Like you said, we were in a good spot there, kind of up high. I got around the corner, down past the Boys and Girls Club, and there was water running hard over the street in two places. And then when I got to Merriam Ave, the traffic was all backed up.
Yeah.
More than usual.
Right.
And I took a right, and I realized the whole area didn't have to go far by the on-ramp to the highway there before the Twin City Plaza was flooded. A couple feet of water already at that point. And the first few vehicles actually made it through. That's how quick it was coming up. Then the 2 or 3 vehicles in front of me, all of a sudden it was up high enough. One of them got stuck. Yeah. And then a truck decided to turn around.
There's always somebody who's going to try to get through that puddle. Right. It's always, I don't care what state you're in, what country you're in, somebody's always going to try to run through that puddle. That's just, that's life.
When I saw the full-size pickup truck turn around, I said, okay, it's too deep. I'm going to turn around. And I went up by Leominster Hospital. Figured I'd go to a nice high point. I'm gonna wait a little bit in my car. But even there, it was coming down. And then when I left there, I had to go across 12 where Route 2 was. And that was, as you know, a pond underneath Route 2 there. It was something else. And people stuck in their vehicles. And luckily, everybody made it out fine. And like you said, it's a miracle. No casualties, no real major injuries.
Behind the mall, they have detention basins and like rain gardens, but mostly detention basins to store the water until it goes down. Well, the parking lot and the detention basin were at the same level. So it's pouring, and people are trying to turn around because they saw cars floating in the parking lot. They end up in one of those detention bases, and now they're on the roof of the car. 911 call. Yeah. We're already spread thin. We're all over the place. Yeah. Calls are coming in, and I think the other thing is, and I got to be full disclosure. I always thought like a flash flood, when they said a flash flood, was usually those low-lying areas that's like a puddle in front of a Sullivan Tire or down a Mechanic Street in front of a Family Dollar. They get high enough that you shouldn't go through them, but eventually when the storm stops, little did I know, I guess, flash flood. Like it turns into a flood real fast. And like you said, it goes from a couple inches of rain and then all of a sudden, or a couple feet, to all of a sudden, and this happens fast.
Yeah. I mean, it was something else. I mean, the response, I don't know how I give it to all the emergency response teams, the police, fire department, yourself, and everybody with the city, DPW, emergency management. The stories you hear are, how everybody came together to really get through it, to respond quickly. And right away, that night, as a planner, I'm already thinking of these areas of flooded. I can only imagine the other areas throughout the city that must be, and turns out they were. And right away you start thinking as a planner, how can we learn from this and start, there's got to be something we can do to learn from what we're seeing here,
right,
and plan for the future. And that's what we're doing, and that's what this project is all about. And it really did, the wheels started turning right away at that moment. How can we learn from this, this really major tragedy, and an event that caused a lot of damage and was really difficult for a lot of people. And, how can we learn from it looking ahead? And, so.
These poor people in Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, at first I heard it, and you watch some clips of it, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. Then they start talking about people are missing, and they're like, oh my God, this is much worse than, the camera can capture. And then they were like, there's 20 people missing, and then 40 and 60, and then like, my goodness, what happened here? And I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly going to look back, but this is what happens when, you get all that water in a short amount of time. There aren't places for it to go, and our city's surrounded by 12 hills. Water flows down, and all of a sudden the rivers come up. And I suspect that's what happened to them at some point, and I don't know what one point they realized how bad this was. And I know, like, all the TV stations are going through all the, email. They're making a story out. The story here is probably, when did somebody know this was this bad? Yeah. And then what did they do at that point?
Yeah.
And that's that's what happened here is, because I didn't see any reports that said you guys are going to get like a tsunami and this is going to, the rivers are coming up 20 feet. There was nothing that said that so far. But politically, everybody, starts jockeying, well, we can blame this person or that person, and they'll have to sort all that out.
Yeah.
Well, let me step on that one. We've known that for decades. We've always known that this was possible and it has to happen. The storm is inevitable.
Right.
But how we've changed the landscape around us, layer by layer, taking away things, making portions of our community more and more vulnerable, is now the portion when we get to say, are you interested in investing in having a solution? And that solution isn't something that is a matter of simply preparing for the emergency and being ready. That's an important step. But do you want to prepare to not have an emergency?
Well, we started with our climate action plan, as Wendy will show you, that was part of our presentation in the National League of Cities for All-American City, was, hey, this is the other aspect of this. We're lucky we started ahead of time. Now, it's hard because the state and got hooked up with the university and a bunch of these other people. I'm not sure if anyone from MRPC was at the meeting, but we had it at City Hall. Secretary of Transportation was there. And what we learned is, over the years, there are, 10, 20, 30 tributaries that have all been filled in. They showed up on a map 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Well, somebody decided they wanted to fill in their yard, and that used to be space that water, traveled, and now and that was everywhere. It wasn't just here. Yeah. And then you've got this, this day that comes, and there's no place to put the water or for the water to go, and so water's going to make its own. In fact, there were a couple of tributaries where it was filled and water just blew back the normal the path of that tributary. And you're right. Yeah. So we started working on these things a while ago. We noticed the erosion around the Nashua River down by the connector. Eventually, it was going to eat into the roadway, and the roadway would eventually fall in if we didn't do something. So that got taken care of. In fact, that equipment is what we used to fix some of the areas of town because they just finished. They just finished. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's, it's my last closing line at the National League of Cities was, you can't plan the day after. And our big thing was, we know climate action plan, and we got ours done, and I think did a very good one. But we started before this, understanding people believe in climate change. They don't. All I know is there are these weather patterns that are pretty extreme. And I don't know where they're going to go or when they'll hit or where they'll hit. But down where Lowe's is, the strangest thing, we had a storm, and these storms were kind of pushing towards the Worcester and to the south side, and it blew out the biggest detention basin I've ever seen. They got this rainstorm down there. Nobody else did. Everybody else is playing wiffle ball and catch and sitting in the outdoor jacuzzi and swimming. And this thing, if you ever look to the side of Lowe's, look down there and see how big this thing. It blew it out like it was a balloon, just overinflated a balloon, bang, the thing went out, and that was the end of that. That's amazing. I mean, nobody knows where these things are going to hit. You're right. You've got to start to prepare.
They'll happen everywhere, so really having things set up in ways that we aren't creating giant water balloons for ourselves are what are going to keep us from getting soaked.
Right.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, right away when this happened, I always try to look for something good out of any occasion, and anything that happens. And like I said, this was a tragic event, a really serious bad storm. A lot of people had damages, a lot of businesses suffered, a lot of businesses were flooded, homes, driveways, even the public infrastructure. Like you mentioned, you had just finished a project, and
we just did a project at the treatment plant, and that thing just got blown out. Done.
Yeah. And so we say, okay, well, this happened and it was a tragedy. Well, can any good come out of it? And the one good thing we saw that can come out of it is the planning and learning from it. A storm like that with the 1,000-year storm, or as far as statistical significance, or not that it's going to happen only once in 1,000 years, but based on statistics, that was a storm event of that magnitude, right? And we don't see that very often. Maybe more than once in 1,000 years, but maybe not, right? And statistically, but we're seeing.
And when we had the hurricanes in the 50s or 30s or whenever it was, there was different infrastructure around. There weren't, there's different buildings that were up at the time. There was things that hadn't been built yet. So it's a little bit different than it is today. And think about areas that are, were built. And sometimes people get upset by, like today we make people manage their water runoff on their property, whether it's, the tank that holds it or the balloon or a rain garden, so it can slowly release itself out. So there are all these things that we do today that we didn't do all these other years. And people might think, well, that's my land and I want to fill it in. Yeah, that's fine. But when there's a big storm, that's wetlands, and you're allowed to fill in some of the wetlands. What happens then?
Yeah, the water's still going to go somewhere, just where or how.
I mean, our dams held up, and we were fortunate for that. And some have been recently replaced. And people are like, the dam blew. And I'm like, no, the dam didn't blow. The water got so high, it went above the dam. And then pushed out everything on the sides. So it held it. And the purpose of the dam is, as the water comes up, it holds it. Well, that wasn't our problem. Our problem, you could have built it another 4 feet high. It really wasn't going to do anything because it just makes its own way around. And water has force. And we're into I guess hurricane season, and places like built on the ocean. Not that it's any better, but usually if it's a hurricane, you have some time to prepare, right? Yeah. And today, I don't know how many more times that FEMA was going to pay for people's houses to be washed away in the ocean. And then they dished out all this money to replace it just to have it wash out again. Yeah. So now they can put it on stilts and, that's, there's a much better way to manage this. If you want to live on the ocean, there are risks. And the risk is, you got a storm, but, at least if the thing's on stilts, the chance of this thing taking off on you are, slim to none. Yeah. So what will the plan done? What will we be looking for? Will we be looking for the public's input on this as well?
The biggest thing is we're looking for community input. We want something a little different. We don't want another 200-page plan that's going to sit on a shelf. So we're looking to get community input so that the people of Leominster that experience it can tell the story through their own words, through their own pictures and videos. And we've created a survey, a map-based survey, where people can go on and click and upload that information. And I'll let Matthew talk a little bit about that, how it works, and give you the link to it, as well as our social media accounts and our webpage that can link you to the survey.
Yeah, so the survey that we've created, it's a pretty simple survey. It's only a few questions long. And what it'll involve is people being able to type out their stories, what happened to them, whether it was just an inconvenience, the road on the way to work was closed the next day, or whether their whole house got washed out. We want to hear all those stories, no matter the severity, so we can get as many data points as possible. And so people, what they can do is they'll go on the survey and it'll ask them to either type in an address or drop a point on the map, and that'll link their story, link their data to a specific geographic location, which we can then use to look at a map of Leominster and see where was the flood most damaging, most impactful. And people can also upload any sort of photos, videos they might have from the day that we can also use to spread the word about what happened that day and better plan going forward. And yeah, so we've set up a few social media accounts. Our Facebook account is Leominster Flood Project on Facebook. Then we also have an Instagram and an X account, which are MRPC Flood Event. So if anyone is interested, they can follow those.
Yeah, I'll make sure I post it on mine.
Yeah, it would be really appreciated. But all of our advertising, we're trying to put the link and the QR code to our survey on it. And that way it's as accessible as possible to as many people as possible. Leominster Flood.
Yeah, I just shared it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
See that?
Yeah.
I'm high tech.
Anything else, Jeff?
It's weird that Texas, I mean, you guys had already planned to come on, but and then today, some storms hit. You got to take these things serious, and I think people do now. And I think it's when I hear storms are coming, I'm like oversensitized about the thing, and you really start to pay attention, just because you don't know what's going to happen. And today, 97% humidity. You mix that up with some, Mother Nature's saying it's kind of hot, and I got to do something with this, moisture. And the next thing you know, but I mean, it's unthinkable, because what we heard from people all over the country was, well, we get storms, we have rivers, the Mississippi that comes up and everything, but it's never like a surprise. Have you been to Mississippi River where they gauge it? There's actually buildings down below near the river, but the river level is like 20 feet above McDonald's that's right on it. They're just built because they know eventually they get flooded out. But it's generally never a surprise when that happens to them. Tornadoes, obviously. You watch these storm guys, they're chasing these things around. I'd be going the other way. I'm like running away from it. These guys are driving to it. It's a little bit too risky for me, but those things can pop up and down anywhere. And so those people are in a different environment where they have to be prepared all of the time. And the slightest chance they get the air raid horns and all of that. So we'll see what comes out of the whole Texas thing. But I think for us here locally, we'll probably see a lot of the things that came from there. But in terms of the effects of the storm, are there things that we can do from here on in? And as you know, we're working with Woodard and Curran down in Burge Ave area that got flooded out before, and this thing really, and as we look at the infrastructure system, it's just not adequate to get water from one section of town to the Nashua River. I think I have no scientific or any backup at all, but I think one of the things that saved us is I had just done a video on how low the Monoosnock was and the Nashua. And that could absorb more than it typically could have. And it was unusual because I had just done a video. I'm like, look at, there's like a little trickle of water coming through here. And that was it. And then the next day, the water was, a couple days later, the water was up and over it by, like 4 feet. So businesses can participate. We want everybody to be involved. We want you to tell your story. We want you to tell your story, but we also want to use that information to better plan for us to see those areas of town that, might need, future, infrastructure upgrades, whatever it might be. And, I don't know how many rain gardens we built around town. People are like, what are those things? We're like, rain gardens. Like, where's a rain garden? Well, it kind of catches the urban runoff. So, when you see it raining, you see a sky bar wrapper flying down the street or a can, it kind of catches that. But also holds the water like a detention basin and then slowly releases it later.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of those we would have needed that day, but at the same time, we've got to start thinking about these things.
Yeah, there are going to be a long list of solutions, all at varying degrees, and things that you can apply yourself.
Right.
Some pieces that are about the municipal infrastructure. And the reason EEA funds these projects and why it is municipal vulnerability preparedness is that we are sharing that resource amongst all of us
Right.
and all of the communities downstream of the Nashua
Right,
as well.
exactly, yeah.
If they want to solve problems in the more heavily populated cities, they're downstream from us. The solution is here, and that's why the investments have to happen in Leominster.
Yeah, and you're right, it does go downhill, right? It's plateau, right? It just sort of steps it down because water isn't going to go uphill in that case. Right? You know, we found at the emergency management and some other places around town, we found fish inside, you know, the buildings, and we're a mile and a half away from this stuff. That just goes to show you, water. Old Mother Nature decides I'm going that way. It's, I don't care what's in my way. Pushes buildings in, and it's just hard to. Still, as I drive around, it's still not fully comprehending what I saw that night. Although it's happening fast and not in slow motion, so it's hard to.
We heard a
grasp.
story of a beaver coming down Main Street in North Leominster.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, and not looking like it was, you know, out for its evening swim. I mean, this beaver was like, "Where am I? How did I get here?
Yeah.
What am I doing here right now? What is going on?" You know, and you know, so even nature was out of place in that particular storm.
It's disturbing for everybody and everything. Well, thank you. We're going to make sure we share this information, and then we'll get you back on as we get closer, and then we'll get you back on when you sort of ready for your final conclusion. And when do you think that'll be?
Process. This will be layer by layer, and it's going to come to you a piece at a time, so that things aren't happening radically.
Yeah, so you can absorb it too,
yeah.
right? Well, good. And as you said, I think Wendy Weeks, when we were at the National League of Cities, said, you know, our plans don't sit on the shelf. We don't get involved in things that we're not going to embrace and then have them sitting on the shelf so we can show everybody, see, we did this, and the thing gets, you know, tossed aside, and that's the end of that. Well, thank you all for coming on. That was very helpful. I'm very excited to see the process move forward, and I think you know, we must have a database of names and numbers and email addresses that you can send to, and say, hey, you know, we're working with the city. Is any chance you could, you know, send pictures or tell us your story? That might, you know, because we were in touch with the, you know, people that how to stay there. All right. Oh, geez, we got a phone call. Caller, welcome to the show. Oh, I didn't see the link. I never looked. Sorry, guys, I never looked to the left here. I just kept conversing. We'll take a short break. 534-1626. If you want to give us a call, we got about another 20 minutes left here at Inside Leominster. Yes, we're live today. And have we heard anything about the Mark Marquis concert tonight? I didn't look at my phone, so I don't know the status. But I'm going to assume that if it's not raining and the weather isn't bad, to go to Saint Leo's, you can park there. Yes, we're building the rail trail, but you can follow cut across on the crosswalk at St. Leo's, and then walk across the sidewalk, and that'll connect you into Carter Park. So just so you know, we'll be right back. Who's on the phone?
Julia Bonham.
And the host, Jack McCaffrey. The host, Jack McCaffrey. Jack?
Hey, forget my call again.
Yeah.
Darn. Okay, I guess welcome to the show. These are our 3 contestants. This is Guess That Movie. Here are the rules. We will say quotes from different movies, and you have to guess them.
What if we guess them right?
Get a point. You have points.
Maybe your gift is being denial.
Yes, Brad?
Encanto.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, he might be.
I'm a fox. I do foxy things. It's in my nature.
Wild robot.
That one's pretty easy. Okay. Here's a good one. This one's improv, by the way. What?
The Grinch.
Okay.
You get the best of both worlds.
This one is probably going to be so obvious.
Yeah.
I am.
Minecraft movie.
Yes. Oh, I wonder which one it could be.
I just said that.
Also, try to play along.
6 I just said that.
Hers. I don't know where the heck hers is from.
Don't I tell you? Hand him on camera. Okay. You whisper very loudly, just so you know.
Yeah.
It is on tonight, 7 o'clock, and that's based on his Facebook page as of 2 hours ago. So, there you go. And we're back here. Carl, welcome to the show. Do we have a caller, or do we just have blinking lights?
Hi, Neil.
Oh, it's Crystal.
It is Crystal.
How are you, Crystal?
How are you?
We're good. We are really good today.
How's Colorado?
It was, we didn't see much of it because we were in a hotel room and we were practicing and you know, we got outside a little bit, but we didn't really get to do any touristy things. But we had a lot of fun. We learned a lot, and we're one of the All-American City finalists. So
Nice.
we're pretty happy about that.
We have the president from Hanford came down.
Really? Wow,
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Did you get to meet him
You
or
want me to
her?
tell Mark to say hi?
Yes, please.
I'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
So the concert is on, and let me remind you, for those that like to write things on your paper calendar or your phone calendar, April 2nd is the Italian Fest, April 5th is National Night Out, April 9th is Starburst, ba-boom, ba-boom, April 12th is the Prospect Park Hike, August 26th is Dining Under the Stars, September 5th is Hispanic Heritage, I think the 10th is the Food Truck Festival, and September 20th is Johnny Appleseed Festival. All right, Mr. Scott.
All right.
What are we doing?
So it's movie season.
It is.
The biggest movie of the summer comes out tonight at midnight.
Wow. Are people going to be, is it going to be shown in movie theaters?
Superman?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, but I mean at midnight?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they actually, some places, I think Entertainment Cinema here starts at 7 p.m.
Oh, it's 7.
Some of the newer places,
So they're going to show the movie at 7, or you can get in and wait till 7?
no, you can see the movie at 7 p.m.
Oh.
At some places. Other places still do the midnight movie.
Yeah, yeah. So they're going to show it at midnight?
Yeah.
Like you got to wait.
Yeah.
So what do we have here? Because I'm
So we have-
I'm a popcorn
Connoisseur.
connoisseur.
Me too. So these are the 5 biggest brands of microwave popcorn.
Oh, good. I've been
So-
waiting for something like this.
So we have
need
the
what?
original inventor of the microwave popcorn, Act 2.
Okay.
Then we have Newman's Own.
Well, don't tell me. Let me.
Oh.
Do you want me to tell
Oh.
you which is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Very salty and buttery,
Yep.
but fluffy.
So that is a movie theater brand that went and got into the microwave popcorn game. Very famous movie theater brand.
So they got the name.
They got the name of the
Oh, yeah.
movie theater company on it.
This one is very yellow,
Yep.
salty, fluffy, really good, not gritty. No kernels, and buttery. Less salty than the first one.
Less salty than the first one. That's weird because that one is the Butter Lovers.
It's a little less salty. All right?
This
Wow.
one is one of my favorites.
Look at the size of these. Look at that.
Yep.
It's like a Volkswagen. Oh. Less salt. Big corn.
These are all movie theater butter
Really?
flavored. That's,
Um,
so
Seems like a little less salt, but they're all salty. Very fluffy and not as buttery. But good. But all 3 are good. This seems saltier.
do you want to take a guess or do you want to wait till you try all of them?
No? What's that one?
So that one was actually named the #1 microwave popcorn in America, Pop Secret.
What's the name of it?
Pop Secret.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then the one in the middle that you said was buttery
one.
but not too salty.
Yep.
That is one of the original microwave popcorns of all time, Orville Redenbacher, whereas their full title is Orville Redenbacher's Gourmet Popping Corn.
Gourmet.
The first one you had is AMC Theaters created their own microwave popcorn because they have,
Well, let's face it. If you're going to, you're not worried about salt and butter if you're going to the.
and you're eating my favorite microwave popcorn of all time.
Less butter, but still tastes good.
Newman's Own.
And this seems healthier.
It is.
Less salt.
Yep. It's organic too.
Oh, it's organic.
Yep. So this one is the original microwave popcorn. Used to have to be refrigerated because they used real butter. Mm-hmm. So this one is Act 2.
So this is real butter?
Not anymore.
used to
Once
be.
upon a time, you used to have to microwave it. Now it's...
Boy, this is the best job in the world. Eating popcorn.
And I did test all of these earlier, so...
These are good.
That one is the value one. That one is the
Like
least
the
expensive.
Walmart brand or something.
No, it's the least expensive one of them all.
It's a little grainier.
Yeah.
It's got little fragments of kernels, but it's not bad.
So, do you have a favorite?
This one is good, and I just want to give it a fair chance because I did say it was very salty in comparison. I would have to say this one.
You voted with 1.5 million people in Massachusetts. Pop Secret has always been the number one popcorn
Really?
of Massachusetts.
Now, is it the healthiest?
No. No, but Orville Redenbacher actually was the highest selling for the longest time because of Siskel and Ebert back in the 90s.
It's like a brand.
Yeah, they sponsored Siskel and Ebert at the movies, the TV show.
Oh, they did.
So because of that,
Did they still have commercials at the TV?
yeah, they do. Yeah. Yep. But Pop Secret, man, you picked the number one popcorn and the popcorn of Regal Cinemas.
I can't say that there's a lot of difference between them. This was a little grittier. And I don't like when there's little grit
Yeah.
and like kernels that aren't popped yet.
Yep.
But I have to say they're all pretty good, but that would be my favorite.
So,
Not that I'm endorsing any products here.
but you're saying that if people are going to go see Superman and,
Yeah,
that's the one you would watch Superman with.
bring your own microwave. Are these all microwavable?
Yes.
Do you popcorn in a pan at all?
I only do it through a pot on the stove. I like stovetop popcorn the best.
You mean the kind with the tinfoil layer?
No, it's the one
Oh,
you
the
put in
spinner.
the one with the spinner.
Yeah.
Yep, and I
Add
use
your own salt.
add my own salt, butter. Yeah.
Well, stay tuned because we have a couple of public service announcements here. Back to school supplies again. For, I think, third or fourth year, the Leominster Public School System is going to be providing students with all necessary school supplies. I don't think we do like the big expensive calculators, but everything else. The Colonial Band, so let's get this straight. Colonial Band concerts are Tuesday at 7:30 at Carter Park. Should for some reason it be raining or inclement weather, there's 30 pieces. So it's hard to reschedule for them. So they move it to City Hall where it's air conditioned and dry. And their concerts start at 7:30. If you're going to Carter Park on Thursday nights, tonight and then next week, it's Mark Marquis. Then on the 24th, it's Full Monty. They come back for the summer series. That's it. So the Colonial Band, Mark Marquis at 7, Colonial Band's at 7:30. These guys are at 6:30. So just check our website, leominster-ma.gov. And the real big news is that Shoreland Farms, next week on July 22nd, weather permitting, we're going to start there. You pick blueberries and raspberries.
Wow.
And from what I understand, it's a really good blueberry season. A couple people have said they already picked tomatoes. I mean, it's only the 10th, and they're already picking tomatoes.
Didn't they bring the blueberries last year to us?
I'm gonna make sure I get my full consumption of blueberries this year.
Should we do a segment where we go and pick some blueberries?
Yes, definitely. And then also check their website, which is shorelandfarms.com. They're looking for a head cashier. And anyway, you can get a resume by going to shorelandfarms.com. Listen to this. The worst or the hottest months to get people to donate blood is in the summer months, usually July and August. And we started putting the word out a month ago, full.
Wow.
Full. So every spot has been taken. Thank you to all those who give blood. It's July 18th, 9 to 2:30. If you're heading to the public library tomorrow, we don't have anything special planned, but on Monday, on the 14th, we have printmaking with art educator Linda Sneh, and Juice and Jelly Fun Time Band at 3, and then family movie night, The Wild Robot at 6:30 p.m. Yes, Mark Marquis tonight with Lizzie Marquis. They'll kick it off at 7 o'clock tonight. The Rail Trail, the company that's doing the work, Pelham, doing a great job over there, but they fenced in the entire project. People are like, why do they do that? I'm like, well, liability, right? Liability is a huge deal for some of these contractors, especially high volume areas where people are walking, riding bikes or whatever. What else do we have to tell people? State police exam and local municipal police exam is coming up, but you do have to register by August 7th. And you can do that by going to mass.gov and then put in civil service. Look at us. We've got a lot going on. Resident yard waste drop-off. If you've got twigs and grass, maybe a next-door neighbor you saw them put out those bags, but they're not picking them up. Let them know. Throw them in their trunk, bring them down to 22 Jungle Road, across from Walmart, right aside of Dr. Colarusso, Central Mass Oral, and 8 to 12 Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. If you're not hooked up yet and you don't want, you're not using social media, City Hall and a couple other businesses around town, we have the newsletters. It's happening in Leominster. It tells you everything. That's almost like the newspaper. Pretty good. 454. Oh, Pop Secret. I'm going to stop at the store and get Pop Secret. Oh, that's good. 377 people tested positive for COVID. 5 here in Leominster, 0 deaths. 1 is too many. It's Don't Step on a Bee Day today. Don't step on a bee day today, Scott. National Kitten Day. National Pina Colada Day. Pick Your Blueberries Day. And Teddy Bear Picnic Day. Oh, I'm supposed to switch this, aren't I? Where's my switcher?
It's right there.
Maybe you can't read that, but on this day in history, 1949, first practical rectangular TV tube was announced in Toledo, Ohio. 1949. 1962, Martin Luther King was arrested in a demonstration in Georgia. 1964, this is good for my brother Marco. A Hard Day's Night, their 3rd studio album released today. And in 1965, the Rolling Stones scored their first U.S. single. You know what it was? I Can't Get No... Do-do-do, Can't Get No Satisfaction. And in 1975, one of the greatest singers of all time, Gladys Knight and the Pips, did a summer series on NBC.
Do you know who hosted it?
Oh.
Flip Wilson.
Oh, yeah. It used to be so exciting to get the TV Guide on Tuesday, go to the section that said specials, especially around the holiday, and there would be all these, specials, like Thursday night or Friday and Sunday night was Disney. It used to be so fun to watch all those things. I don't know if they do them anymore. Not really. They might have a concert, Memorial Day or Veterans Day, but in 1985, Coca-Cola announces it will resume selling old formula Coke. Remember that?
Yep.
We're going to sell the Coke we used to sell that nobody wanted anymore, but we're going to start selling it again because people missed it. In 1997, Louise Woodward's trial begins in Massachusetts for the nanny murder trial. And 2019, Taylor Swift named the world's highest paid entertainer by Forbes, earning $180 million in 2018. Can you believe that? She makes almost as much as you. Do I have any pictures of the week? Because I got popcorn to eat.
Here we go.
Pictures of the week. I never know what these are, but here we go. The Tri-Town takeover at the Woosocks is Mayor Squalia, Mayor Nicholson, and Leominster Police provided the honor guard for the night. It was a beautiful night, and they won 11-1 or something. Larry McNeil and Rick Voltor at the Woo Sox game. I saw them, or they saw me, and then I saw them. That was the best. And Leominster Little League at Woo Sox. That was great. They made a donation to the Little League. Storm drainage replacement on Union Street at Duggan. New pipe has a lifespan of about 100 years now, so they're making better materials. Leominster well represented in the Fitchburg Parade. We had police and fire there this year. And congratulations to Janessa McQuaid and Carlos Cintron, honored with Open Skies SIT People's Choice Award. And look how sporty they look. Looking sharp. All right. I'm clicking. Oh, sorry.
We'll bring it back up.
Yeah, we'll bring it back. You're watching Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the city, and Scott's here, chatting about popcorn today, as you can see. All right, let's try to go back. I guess once you're through it.
We'll bring it back up.
All right, whenever you get a minute, bring it back up. I think it was the graduating class for the Junior Police Academy. There you go. Yeah. 14 cadets from the... We've done this for I don't know how many years. What a great program. Thank you to the police officers, the police department, the chief, and everyone else for getting these organized. These are really good events. So there you go. So popcorn. So what are the previews and for Superman? Is it a movie people should go see, or is it just a big hype?
I think it's the second or third best reviewed Superman movie. The original Richard Donner ones are 1 and 2, but it's 86% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes through the critics, 96% fresh for audience score, and the only other movie to do that came out this year, and it's Sinners. So,
are you going to go see it?
Oh, absolutely.
Tonight?
No, I'm taking my dad on Sunday.
He wants to go.
Oh yeah, my dad introduced me to Superman. So.
How old's your father?
My dad is 73, 72.
And he's into Superman?
Oh yeah. Superman, Fantastic Four.
My brother Marco's got comics and baseball cards that go back, I don't know how long, 30, 40, 50 years maybe?
Are you going to see it?
Am I going to see it?
Yeah.
How long is it?
2 hours.
Oh, that's easy. You know what I just saw the other day that I haven't seen is Jersey Boys. Never saw it.
The show, the Broadway show, I love.
Yeah.
I love the Broadway show.
Probably was mostly music, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I grew up with Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
I don't know, it was just kind of strange that they were making all that money and then two guys decided to leave. One was kind of forced out, the Greco there, or the Vito, and the other guy just said, I don't like sleeping in hotels anymore, I want to go home. That's their version of what happened. I don't know what the real story is, I guess, right? There's always two sides to the story. Oh, we're almost out of time, or no?
We're almost out of time, yeah.
Well, it says 2 minutes. Are we 2 minutes over, or 2 minutes to go?
We're approaching the almost over.
All right. Well, anyway, let's sign off from the popcorn capital of the world. Thanks for watching tonight, and we'll be back next week, right? No more holidays.
Nope.
No more days off. We'll be back here next week, but thanks for watching. Good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. Thanks for showing up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company, Incorporated, and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency, Incorporated, DeCarolisinsuranceagency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank creates success. EnterpriseBanking.com.
This is LTV.